The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. I have a very special guest for you today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I have Athena Brownson, a realtor in the Denver, Colorado area. Is that correct?
That is correct. Coming to you from Denver.
Awesome. Fantastic. So one of the reasons I said at the top of this conversation is I'm so excited about this because, Athena, you have a spectacular story to tell. Not only are you a very successful realtor in your area, your background is far different than I think most people, myself included, that have come up through life. And I think people are very interested in hearing that. So, if you can, maybe just start out. How did you become a realtor? Tell us about how you got to where you are, and go from there.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I love listening to your podcast. So excited to share a little bit of my story, which, like you said, has been an interesting one. Definitely, I don't think anyone really grows up saying they want to be a realtor. I'm not sure that that's in anyone's vocabulary, but I did grow up immersed in real estate. So I grew up in a small town called Breckenridge. If you are familiar with skiing and snowboarding, Breckenridge is probably somewhere you're very aware of. And yes, people do grow up there. I did it. There are very few of us, but I did grow up in Breckenridge. Wow. And with that, my dad was a residential real estate developer and builder. And I was constantly following him around job sites, in the freezing cold, basically. so when I thought about real estate, it was not something that sounded like a glamorous career that I wanted to do.
Acclimate, I bet. You acclimate pretty quick. Yeah.
I acclimated quickly, and I actually went in the direction of my father in a different way. And that was that he was a professional speed skier. So he was one of those crazy people that would go down the mountain as fast as you possibly could and get clocked to see what your miles per hour was. So that was my childhood, was watching him go, 127 miles an hour on skis, and then go. Yeah, that was his record. I never got that crazy.
I don't even drive that fast.
I don't either. Trust me, I don't either. He does now still. He's a car racer now, so I think he goes much faster than that. So I got a little bit of the adrenaline and competitiveness, I think, from my father. It's safe to say. And I went into the realm of skiing. My whole world, my passion, everything I loved was in skiing, which was great because I was in Breckenridge. So it was pretty conducive to that. But from a very young age, I joined ski teams. I went professional when I was 15 years old, which was, I think I was one of the youngest to go pro at that time. And, I was traveling the world 300 days a year skiing and basically chasing winter down. And I laugh because when I think about everything that I do in real estate and that I know in real estate, I look back to my days of skiing and all of the lessons that I learned through skiing that were the best business school I ever could have asked for. Lessons in competitive edge, in how to be coached, the art of mentorship, the importance of discipline and hard work, and kind of pushing through things that you don't necessarily want to push through at the time, which has served me very well throughout, many hardships in my life. But when you're in that moment of skiing, I thought that was going to be, what I did. Well, if you look at the age of when skiers retire. It is not much older than like 22 to 25 years
Sure.
old. It is not a career.
Right.
So when it was time for me to retire, I was very passionate about homes. I knew that. And I was still very far away and skeptical of realtors. It just wasn't something that I put thought into of being of interest, but I went into the world of interior design. And going from skiing to going to any job for that matter, where you are sitting behind a desk for, from 9 to 5, and you're taking, I shouldn't say orders, but you're taking orders from someone else. You're not necessarily using your creative abilities, was not something that was very appealing to me when I got into it. So I had a great girlfriend at the time. She's actually still my idol. She is a real estate broker up in Montana, in Bozeman, sells about
Nice.
100 million a year by herself. And as a mom, she's absolutely incredible. But she said, Athena, I really think you would like real estate. If you love people, you like to, be self-motivated, you love homes, like what are you not computing that real estate would be a great fit for you? And I kind of scratched my head, and she said, you know what, meet with the owner of my company tomorrow, have lunch with him, see what you think from there. If it's not the right fit, I won't bring it up again. Well, I sat down with a man named John Stegner. He was the owner of a small boutique real estate firm in Denver. And he was one of those humans that you get around and the sun is just shining from him. His energy was so incredible. His view of real estate as a profession that gives you the opportunity to help people, not just a transactional mindset of how many deals can I get done. The way he really cared about helping people through their journeys in life and using real estate as a tool to help them was so captivating to me that I quite literally put in my notice the next day, quit my job.
Your light bulb
And
moment, right?
yeah, it was. And
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those moments that I hadn't had since I was done skiing of, oh, there are other things in this life that can spark you and that can ignite that flame in a beautiful
Yes.
way. And I
Yeah.
think, in order to be successful at anything in life, you have to have whatever that passion is, whatever, gets you out of bed in the morning on the days
Right.
you don't want to get up in the morning. And
100%.
I'll get into that, but that was a little over 8 years ago, and it's the best decision I ever made. Real estate is my heart.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really that you kind of have to get to that for others attitude, as opposed to the for me attitude, to really be
100%.
passionate. And I know you're going to continue on with your story, and this is the next part, which I think is coming.
Yeah.
Is even as much as you had done that thus far in your life in this story, what's about to come to me is ultra compelling. So go ahead.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I like to think that I had come to a place in my real estate career. I was about 4.5 years in, that I was kind of at the top of the world. I felt like I had finally mastered the skills that all my coaches were teaching me, and I had really good business coming in. I was getting great press, having opportunities on television shows. Everything was going right. And unfortunately, I was also at a period in time where I was having significant neck issues, and this is because I had broken my neck skiing.
Ooh.
So it was finally time for me to have surgery on my neck. I needed to have a couple discs replaced, and I wish I would have done it sooner. It was one of those that I kept putting it off, but finally, I was in too much pain. I decided to move forward with that. But what I didn't realize was nothing was ever going to be the same from that surgery on. In my real estate career and my personal life, a huge domino effect began when I had neck surgery. And that was when I was recovering from the neck surgery. And, in my brain, my competitive self, I had rehabbed 100 injuries before, blown 9 knees, broken a couple legs. Like, I knew how to recover and I knew how to be disciplined in that. But I kept getting these really acute, strange illnesses during my recovery. And I luckily had an incredible doctor who recognized that something was not right. I was experiencing really bad fatigue, brain fog, joint pain. And he said, Athena, you're too young and healthy for all of these things to be happening. There's an underlying cause that we're missing. I'm going to do a series of tests on you. And what we found was I actually had contracted Lyme disease. And I'm, growing up in Colorado, ticks are not something that we are very even aware of. There's very few incidents of Lyme disease in Colorado and very few ticks, but I had done so much traveling throughout my ski career. I hiked in Oregon every summer. I was in Vermont consistently. I was in very tick prominent areas. And I have no memory of being bit by a tick, but this little tick man,
Right.
this little tick bite completely changed my life. And that was a little over 4 years ago that I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And unfortunately for me, what's interesting about Lyme is it attacks whatever you're genetically predisposed to. So it doesn't show up in everyone in the same way. So, and that makes it very difficult to diagnose and also very difficult to treat because it is so different. And for me, what happened was that it completely wiped out my immune system. And it not only wiped out my immune system, but it turned my immune system against me, AKA autoimmune diseases. So I went from, being at the top of my game as a real estate agent, not wanting to lose that, but suddenly having so much fatigue and brain fog and pain, neuropathy. Like, I went through 2 years where my hands felt like they were 100% in a fire pit. Like, the skin on my hands burnt so badly for 2 years that it felt like they were on fire. Now imagine trying to use a cell phone to call your clients or to use the computer.
Do anything.
It's debilitating. But what I found is that real estate was my saving grace through all of this. And it's something that I'm still battling every day. I've got a large port in my chest. I go to the hospital every 2.5 weeks and I do 4 days of plasma transfusions.
Wow.
And that's 33 pounds of blood in and out of my body. And they're taking out all of my antibodies that attack me and replacing them. And I need this basically right now to survive. And it really has become, real estate has become my survival mechanism because it is something that I am passionate about that gets me out of bed on the days that I don't want to get out of bed, which is pretty frequently. My body does not feel good, but I have learned routine and I've learned that my community, my clients, the people I work with have lifted me up in such a beautiful way that I'm still able to have that impact on people's lives. That doesn't have to go away. And I'm still able to do, I can create what my day needs to look like based on how I'm feeling, which I don't think many careers give you that opportunity. Like, I hit the jackpot for a sick person. I always say that. So real estate really has been kind of my life raft because it allows me to put my mind on something productive and something positive. And I'm very open with my clients. Clearly, I'm speaking about it right now. I am a huge advocate for invisible illness and chronic illness awareness. I think it's unfortunately something that's popping up more and more and more. And it
the
really
wrong reasons sometimes too. Both sides. Yeah,
exactly. And it's something that's not talked about a ton. So I like to, my goal is to show that you can be going through the worst days of your life and the hardest challenges, it puts things in perspective, because now I look at a deal that's having issues and I'm like, well, yeah, but is anyone going to die? Like, first, we can get through this. Like, no matter what, we can get through this together. And,
Sure.
it's given me this perspective and this, beautiful ability to connect with clients on a more personal level too. Because I have to explain to them, you might be seeing a member of my team if I'm in the hospital that day getting a plasma
Right.
transfusion. And I think it really takes down the barrier of, just being strictly a real estate broker to being a human that is, here to fight for their best interests and can fight because I'm fighting for my life right now. And if I can do that, then I can guarantee you I can fight really well negotiating. So real
Yeah.
estate's just been my godsend.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, for us mere mortals, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think you've taken that to the umpteenth level and continue doing so. I
Thank
applaud you
you.
for that for sure. So
Thank you.
let's talk a little business. Let's
Yeah,
talk
let's
about a
do
little
it.
bit about your business. So we know your history, fascinating, and how you got there, and now obviously your passion for it. Tell me a little bit about your market and the areas that you excel in or that you like to focus on. And
Yeah.
we've heard about Breckenridge, which I do love, Dillon, Frisco, all those areas around
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So tell us a little more about that in your market there.
Absolutely. So, like I said, I've been in real estate in Denver for a little bit over 8 years. So I have had the fortune of not only seeing what the last 3 years of incredible business was. I've seen a little bit more of a stable market in terms of supply and demand, but I have had the fortune of being in a market that's relatively healthy. We have a huge amount of people moving into the state. I don't foresee that changing. Colorado's a very desirable place to live, and we have nowhere near enough houses being built to put everyone. So, supply and demand, I live in a market that is very demand driven, and that creates a very healthy real estate economy. Now, when I first started, I used to like to specialize in specific neighborhoods, but the more I grew as an agent and especially just access to information, I think the ability to become an expert on any product in any neighborhood has become so easy and at our fingertips that I like to say, I don't specialize in a specific area or a specific type of property, although, I don't dabble very much in commercial. I stick to residential for the most part. And whatever my clients' needs are, whether that's a $200,000 condo or a $4 million property, I'm going to make sure that I'm an expert on that neighborhood, that I know all the comparable sales, that I know everything there is to know about that area. And it's so easy for us to be able to do that now that you can't not, you have to be an expert on whatever your clients needs. Now, a lot of agents in the Denver community don't necessarily dabble up in mountain real estate. And there's a good reason for that. And that's because when you're getting into mountain properties, you're looking at an entirely different series of inspections and items to be aware of. Septic systems are pretty much in place on most properties, and wells, just items that we don't necessarily have in a metropolitan city.
Right.
So growing up in Breckenridge, I did gain that knowledge, and I had the experience of working with my dad on projects so that I can help my clients here in Denver purchase their second homes in Breckenridge. And I can feel good about the way I'm representing a client in the mountains, because I think at the end of the day, you could do business wherever you want, but if you are not well versed in what you are selling and what you are doing, you're not representing your client the best that you possibly can. So that's something that I definitely love to do and be able to work up there on occasion. And as of most recently, my most exciting endeavor in real estate is, I've spent the last few years helping investors do fix and flips. I love being able to kind of be a part of that flip in using my interior design background to help kind of reimagine floor plans and choose finishes. That's been something that I've really enjoyed, helping flippers and builders and developers. But I had convinced at long last my dad to come be my business partner here in Denver and start building properties with me. So I have just recently,
Fantastic.
it's so exciting. It's exciting on many levels. One, because I'm learning from the pro, and I'm getting to spend time with my family, it's special to be able to do that on a different level.
Right.
But it's something that I'm such a novice at, and I don't have, I've helped developers, I've helped builders, but do I understand everything that's gone into it? Well, now I do, but if you would have asked me that a year and a half ago, absolutely not. So being able to, that's another exciting thing about real estate. Are there so many different areas that you can delve into, and it almost feels like an entirely new business, and it's so exciting to be able to really dive in and learn. So development and building have kind of become my latest fascination, and it is such a complex, it's funny because the city of Denver keeps changing their permitting rules, like halfway through. We'll get halfway through a set of plans and they change everything and we'll have to redo something. So it's been a learning experience for sure, and how to work with them, and especially during a time where we've got labor shortages, material costs are extremely high, and wait times. They say that if you're putting plans in to get approved with the city of Denver right now, it might be 26 months before they're done, and it used to be under, probably closer to 9 months. So it's been a learning experience, but it's something that I'm extremely excited about, and I think that I'll be doing for a very long time. And it really envelops all of those, things I love. Again, being able to create what the home is. To me, home has so much meaning for families and for people, and just being able to create that hearth, that communal gathering place that means so much to people, to be able to actually create that is so exciting. So that's my latest and greatest.
Well, that's fantastic, and getting back to you and your father working together, I think that's amazing, and it's almost a legacy type situation, and that's wonderful. That kind of segues into my next question. Tell me a little bit more about the designer's eye. As far as staging goes, and how you're prepping these homes. I assume you're using that in your new builds, as along with your current home supply in the area. But that's a big part of it. I mean, I've been helping realtors, working with realtors. I hate to give away my age, but since the 90s, early 90s.
That's not old. Come on.
Yeah. But in the staging of the home has always been something that I think a lot of not only owners and buyers but realtors have really looked past and thought, I don't have to do that. It's a good market. It's a hot market. But there's a lot more to it than that. Can you expound on that a little bit?
I get super excited about this as well. So yes, absolutely. My mom was an artist, and she did all the interior design for my dad's projects. So my favorite thing used to be going to pick out different materials with our countertops and flooring and tile. And I think, I gained that knowledge and that eye from her 100%. And it's something that I use with every client that I'm working with. And I think it's a value add that I love to be able to bring to the table. So like you said, I think a lot of agents have, the last couple of years have been gravy. They've been amazing. I was seeing iPhone photos posted for MLS and no
Right.
staging and not clean houses that weren't cleaned and
Filthy.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's crazy.
yeah, oh my goodness. And I think this is going to be a good reminder, hopefully, this period where, you know, things aren't as hot, of what steps are necessary in order to show your client's home in the best possible light, so that you're making them the most that they can possibly make off this sale. And that really comes in, you know, one of my first things that I love to do is, even at a listing presentation, you know, I ask for a tour of the property. And once we've talked about the home a little bit, I say, you know, I would absolutely love to be able to do, you know, stage this more as an office, and this is our second work from home space, and I think we need to add a few pops of color here to draw the eye. I love being able to give just what I tell them is my opinion based on what I'm seeing in buyer activity, because I'm out with buyers all day long, so I'm hearing, you know, what they love about properties and how how much staging affects their ability to envision their life there. Because I think when you take away, you know, when you make the house look its best, whether it's through staging, whether it's through repainting and cleaning, or some light renovations, you're taking off an entire lens that is allowing a buyer to, instead of nitpick what's not right with the property, you're allowing them to envision what their life is going to be like in that property.
Right.
And I think having that, you know, that differentiating factor is a make or break in how quickly you're going to sell a house, or how, you know, how competitive it's going to be. Because the last thing we want our buyers to do is walk in and have, you know, just be a little bit grossed out by the dirt in the house and not be able to envision what their day-to-day life is going to be like.
Sure.
And our job's to paint that picture. So I love being able to walk buyers through, help them envision what properties can be if they're not looking at their best, and then being able to consult with sellers on what we can do to show their home in the best possible light. And I think it's important to differentiate that we're not trying to, you know, we're not trying to say our clients have bad taste by changing things. we are trying to paint a bland, you know, like a basic bland picture that anyone could then import their family and their life into and envision it, so that they're not envisioning the seller's current life. So I think being that trusted advisor,
you're the professional. Yeah,
exactly.
You're the professional.
I love that.
That's what you're there for. I mean,
exactly.
That's what you're there for. So, you know, I would say that the times that I've used a realtor that I needed that assistance, I want them to do exactly what you said. Please paint the picture. And don't tell me my picture's bad. Just make it better. You know, if my picture's bad, just make it better. And I'll trust you all the way. And that's what it's about, is trust, obviously. You had said something that really resonated just a few seconds ago. And you had talked about the prices in the area, a little bit about rent, you know, and I want to touch on that, because I think the whole United States, not just your area, but is going through kind of a rent crisis, let's say. And we're hearing a lot about that. I'll put it like that. We're hearing about a rent crisis. And I know you're a big proponent of changing rent into mortgage, or getting out of the rent cycle and getting into the mortgage. Tell me a little bit about that. I think that's really important for folks. You know, there's a lot of folks getting pushed out of their homes that think they're not in a position to get a home that maybe they really are. Now, I know Breckenridge might be a different market, or Denver might be a different market, but I think it's not. It's the same for everybody. It's the same for everybody. Tell me about that a little bit.
You know, and it's crazy to hear, you know, talking to agents all around the country, that it's happening everywhere, and it really is happening everywhere. And for example, you know, I recently heard a stat that in the last 18 months, rental rates went up 30% in Denver. And I was just meeting with a girlfriend a couple of days ago, and she was paying already an astronomical rate for her rent. It's under 700 square foot, one bed, one bath. She was paying close to $3,000 a month. They wanted to up it to $3,700 a month. And I'm seeing that left and right and left and
Everywhere.
right.
Yeah.
And people are, it's enough of an increase that it's not okay, I'm just going to have to stop doing a couple little items and I'll be able to pay that extra $200 a month. Or,
Right.
hey, I'm getting, an increase in pay. It's such significant increases that people are getting priced out of, renting in that. And the majority of the people that are getting priced out are the people that are making our cities run. They are
Right.
the groundwork for they're the only reason that, we're functioning societies. And it's heartbreaking, but I think that it's an opportunity for us to step up and educate and provide resources for renters, just as we would for, any prospective leads. But I think oftentimes, I talk a lot about how there's certain elements in life that you really need to know about as an adult that you never learned growing up. You don't learn how to build credit or what your credit score is or how to get a mortgage and what it's going to take to get a mortgage and how much you should be reporting on your taxes. These are things
Right.
that people don't learn. And I think that because they don't know these things, there's a little bit of a fear of, well, I feel stupid for not knowing what it might take to get a home. And I don't want to ask about it because this is something I should know. So I'm just going to figure something else out. And I think when you take down the veil and you say, look, the only reason I know this is because I'm in the industry. When I started this
Right.
profession, I had no idea either. But hey, you're not alone. I've got incredible resources for you to speak with, credit repair specialists, lenders, CPAs, myself. Like, if it's not right now, like, let's take a step back, look at what you're spending on rent, look at how much it's increasing, and
Right.
then make a game plan for you to be able to build wealth with real estate and to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Because you show someone what they've paid to their landlord over the last 2 years, when that money could be going into building equity in a home. And it's heartbreaking, honestly.
It
And I
really
think
is. Yeah.
there's a lot of large corporations buying up properties all over the place to make them rentals so that people are stuck in that rental cycle. And it's really scary.
It is
So
scary.
it's scary.
You look at and not to interrupt, I apologize, but
No, you're
just
great.
that having someone else in control
Mhm.
of your outspend, of what you're going to spend every month, which effectively, if you're a family or if you're anybody, it doesn't have to be a
Mhm.
family, but everybody's on a budget, and I don't, there are that few percentile people who aren't on a budget, but once again, for us mere mortals, there's
Mhm.
some sort of budget out there, whether the budget's up here or down here,
Yeah.
and just knowing that someone else is in control of it, someone else is dictating how much of that budget that you're going to spend every month, every 6 months, or every year, or every 2 years, it changes. That's not where anyone should be, and so I'm all for
It's very
getting out of that
disconcerting.
trap. Yeah, getting out of that trap. And the second part of it is, I don't think most people, and I know you do because you're in the industry, and I work
Mhm.
with people like you in the industry, realize, I want to say it right, but how much home is $3,700 a month?
So much.
So much, too much, maybe. Now maybe
Agreed.
not in your neck of the woods, or maybe in Southeast Florida, but for the most part, the average
Yeah,
American, $3,700 a month, buy a heck of a lot of home,
absolutely.
and I think the chances are more than likely, with the way rent rates are now, there's a viable opportunity to bring that number back down and
Mhm.
build that equity and start building that wealth for far less. And it's insane for folks to be doing that. And I realize everybody's in a different situation, but as
Mhm.
you said, and you said it best, let's put a plan together.
Yeah.
Put a plan
And
together to get out of that.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
think people realize either that, home ownership is the number one wealth builder that there is, period. I mean, if you're looking at, where your money is going to appreciate at the highest rate. It is in real estate, and building that equity is building security in your future.
Sure.
And I think, we are very instant gratification society currently. And
Right.
if we can't make something happen right now, well, then it kind of gets thrown away. But I think the key is, one, putting that plan in place and checking in on your clients and making sure, hey, this is something that we said we were going to do. How's it going with the credit repair specialist? Or how's, your savings going? Have you talked to a lender? Have you talked to a lender about maybe first time buyer grants, like home assistance, first time home
Right.
buyer assistance programs? There are so many different options available to people that I don't think they're aware of. And it's our duty and it's our job to inform them. I also think people would be a little bit disconcerted if they realized what was happening
Right.
nationally with the rental market in terms of, the big corporations purchasing up
Buying up homes. Yeah.
neighborhoods. Yeah. And
It's crazy. Never in our lifetime have we seen anything like that.
never.
Do you
It's
think?
scary.
Yeah, it is super scary, and it's all around us, and that's that's the worst part about it. Let me ask you this though, Athena. Do you think there's is it fear? Are there a lot of misconceptions about, what it takes to buy a home, or, why are people renting for life? I mean, I know renters for life, and
Same.
and it's, it's easier, it's easy to move around. I could do this, I could do that. And to me, it's all excuses, but that's their personal opinion. That's their personal opinion.
It's wrong, but just
it's
kidding.
wrong. Yeah. But is there misconceptions out there, or some folks confused?
Big time.
Yeah.
Oh I can't tell you how many, first time home buyers I meet with that say, but I don't have 20% to put down.
Right.
And it takes me a moment to remember that, from the outside, a lot of people think that you need to have a huge amount of money saved up for a down payment, that your credit has to be absolutely perfect, that you have to be making a ton of money. Otherwise, you're not going to get approved for a loan. And what they don't realize is how many different programs are available and how many people there are out there that want to help them find the right fit for them so that they can become a homeowner. And maybe it's someone, like you said, they move around a lot. They like being able to be flexible. Well, how about we look at what your property would rent for to someone else then?
Hey.
So if you want to move, that you can be covering all of your costs and then having some mailbox money coming in. Or if you want to sell, what is the average appreciation annually in the area that you want to sell at? In Denver, we've been spoiled. I mean, last year, I don't like to compare to anything, but we had close to 19% appreciation annually. Where else can you put your money that you're getting that kind of return? So even if you want to sell in 2 years, and what does that, say conservatively 20 to 30% appreciation look like? And how's that going to set you up for being able to buy the next property? And your first home most likely is not going to be the home that checks every box for what you want. I love to have clients sit down and make their wish list of what they would like in a property. And then we take that wish list and we say, okay, well, what are the must-haves from this list? And what are these would be nice. So let's really get down to the elements that you absolutely need to be in a home. Otherwise, you're going to continue renting. And your first home's most likely not going to be your dream home, but it's going to be the step to the dream home. Because if you're not entering that market, if you're not, starting to build wealth with real estate, it just becomes more and more difficult to attain that dream home that you've always wanted. So I think you're right. I think misconceptions about what is necessary to purchase a home are absolutely rampant. And I think that, again, it's our job to educate our clients and educate as many people as we can, through podcasts like this, through video, through that home ownership is attainable, and we would love to set you up with the right people and the right resources to build your roadmap.
Perfect. Perfect. So that begs the next question. How do you, and I obviously talk to a lot of realtors, how do you find the next buyer? Are they coming to you, or are they referrals? Are they, and you probably say all of the above, but how are people finding you?
Yeah. So the majority of my business, I'd say 90% of my business is repeat or referral.
Fantastic.
So for the most part, because I've been in the industry a little while now, I've had the opportunity of working with a lot of great people. And I do take pride and joy in building relationships with my clients, lifelong relationships, so that if they're thinking, I have a very good follow-up plan. I love checking in with people. I'm the biggest handwritten note person ever. You'll get an email from me asking for your address after this. I love checking in with people. And because of that, I think I can stay top of mind, so that if they need to sell and buy, or if they have a referral, that they'll send them my way. I don't do any ad spend personally. I did, when I first got started, I did a lot of cold calling, and it taught me a lot. I would never, suggest that someone doesn't go through a phase of that. But for me, it just wasn't the right fit. But I do actually get some business off social media as well. And that is funny to me that we're in a day and age that you can get amazing clients off of Instagram, but it's true. And it's an amazing platform. So I'd say about 10% of my business comes from social media, but 90% is repeat or referral.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. I have a coach that, I'm part of a coaching program. I have always had a coach as a realtor. I think it's the greatest money you can spend, the best time you can spend. But I have a checklist of what I need to be doing every day to stay on track with just the basics of checking in with people and, seeing how we could best assist them if they need a vendor, if they need absolutely anything, and writing them notes and making videos and just making sure that I'm accountable to how I'm conducting my business. Because I think a lot of times when you start getting busy, it's easy to throw those basics away. And the basics are what keep your business running. So I have a coach that will find me if I don't do the basics. Of course, the money goes to charity, so it's a good thing. But, having that accountability aspect definitely helps me to stay top of mind with my clients.
Yeah, an accountability partner like that, a coach or whomever it may be, is phenomenal. And for those of you out there listening to this that are either realtors or in anything else, accountability partner is paramount. You know what I think, Athena? I think you should bottle all this up, and it's time for you to write a memoir or a book.
If you say so, I will.
I think you should. You would
Thank
be
you.
shocked at how fascinated people will be by everything that you've mentioned there. And I'm sure there's plenty in there that we haven't heard that I'm sure people would enjoy.
We would need a full day, definitely, to chat.
Yeah. After your book, you'll be giving seminars and going on tour. So
perfect. I'm in.
So how do people get in touch with you? Give me your contact details, and how can folks get in touch with you if they want to?
So I'll give you my Instagram, just because it's got my phone number, my website, my email posted on it. And that is just Athena Brownson Realtor. And I'll spell it since that's a mouthful. It's ATHENA BROWNSON REALTOR. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me, phone, email, Instagram, if you're, going through adversity, if you need tips on real estate, if you just want to chat. I love connecting with people and would love to connect with all of you.
I would love to come out and go driving around with your dad.
Please come out. Absolutely. He's
the whole time I'm thinking, how can I get out there and drive through the Rockies at about far too fast and see how this goes.
So
But
he's actually in Le Mans right now in
oh, wow.
France, and he
Yeah.
is the oldest driver. He's 69, and he races with a bunch of 20-year-olds, and he kicks their butt.
Nice.
He goes about 218 miles an hour on straightaways. He's in like a little single seat open wheel. So he's a pretty cool human, and he would
That's pretty
love to
cool.
drive you around.
He's going to be the next spokesman for Dos Equis, the world's most interesting man, maybe.
Exactly. I think if he grew a beard, he could do it for
There
sure.
you go. There you go. Athena, it has been a pleasure having you on the Icons of Real Estate. And anyone who needs to get in contact with her, I recommend doing it wholeheartedly. She's got a great story and looks like she's got a phenomenal business there in the Denver area. Especially in that Breckenridge area. If you haven't been there, that's beautiful. Just a quick note about that. Love to take
you up there.
There's that hotel at the top of the hill. And I wanted to call it like the Overlook Hotel. But it's way at the top. And I'm going to look, I have photos that I stayed there.
Is it Keystone?
And it's not Keystone. It actually faces all the runs. I'm kind of getting off topic here, but it faces all the runs.
And Crystal Peak.
It might be Crystal Peak.
Maybe.
I'm gonna
Yes.
email you or text you or something
and
let you know. And I gotta tell you, not only did I get altitude sickness, but I didn't want to go back down and get food. And so I felt horrible about having pizza delivered. And the guy acted
That's amazing.
Oh, I got 10 of them up here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, my gosh. I was driving like, like I was about to go off the cliff, which, is possible. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. If anybody hasn't been out there, storybook type deal. Other cities around there like Frisco and Dillon, and then of course going up, the Vale or anywhere else, beautiful as well. Athena, thank you so much. I look forward to speaking with you again, and you have a great day.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and I can't wait to talk again too.
All right.